Hello, and what did I say in that old video? I don't know, it's been 20 years. Oh, I said, hello and welcome to... Hello and welcome to the countdown to the year 2000. It is now December 29th, 1999. Only a few more days until the rest of the century is complete. 2019. 20 years ago, I was concerned, as many people were, about Y2K, and I collected a bunch of stuff about Y2K, and I still have the same hat I had, but I don't have the same color hair, and I'm older now, old. And it's kind of weird. It's kind of a strange feeling to be part of this, because we're so busy that we don't have time to really think about it. Very fascinated at the time about Y2K because, you know, in the Y2K video, the one that I originally did, I talked about the fact that the Cuban Missile Crisis, I don't even know what I was talking about, was, you know, a big deal at the time, and people built bomb shelters and things. I was trying to sort of make that parallel in that years later we look back and kind of laugh at that. We may look back on this tape and laugh, at least they're laughing. They may laugh at me, they may laugh with me, I don't care as long as they laugh. But someday this whole hoopla will be sort of like funny to look at, because you know, we look back at the Cuban Missile Crisis scare with all the bomb shelters and everything, and we kind of laugh and joke about that and whatever. And it was presented, the Y2K problem was presented as the end of the world, because they said planes were going to fall out of the sky, and all the chips in the cars would stop working, and this and that. Of course, none of that happened. I don't think there was much disruption at all, but somebody, you know, people say it's a hoax. It was a hoax, giant hoax. People had to get their computer Y2K compliant, and maybe that prevented problems, but generally we look back and we think that was a hoax. I'm not sure if it was or not, but I just wanted to look back anyway. It has been 20 years, and it was definitely a thing people remember about the late 90s. Y2K, WTF Y2K. I don't know what the hell that was all about. But I'm gonna look at some of the memorabilia that I kept from that time period, because at the time I was working for a newsletter company, and they were promoting all this, you know, it's gonna be the end of the world for these computer IT people. Everything's gonna break, and social disorder and da-da-da. None of that happened, and at the time I remember thinking, I don't think this is gonna happen like they say it's gonna happen. The next day, January 2nd, after New Year, I was dumping tons and tons of publications that promoted all of this Y2K panic, and just putting it in, I remember it was large, like laundry carts, like the ones they have at hospitals and stuff, just chucking it all out because it was going into the dumpster. It was all pretend. I think most people are so sick of hearing about Y2K that they don't really think about it. Most people agree that at least something may go wrong, but nobody really knows what. So, one of the things I did is I collected some memorabilia from that day, from the Y2K stuff. This is an old Connecticut Post my dad gave me, because he was still living down in Connecticut, still living. It was from January 1st, 2000, and it was the Millennium edition. Millennium. There's still some confusion as to when the Millennium is. This was from my bank. This is a Y2K saying, we're gonna be okay, all your money's gonna be fine. Because that was the thought, that maybe all of our money will just disappear into cyberspace, you know. Some people's money did disappear in scams and schemes. But this is a whole pamphlet about we're okay. Bank Boston, which is no longer because they disappeared. Anyway, here was the Time magazine in the future. This is Time magazine from April 10th, 2000. So this was a whole thing about the future, and I'm sure they talk about right now and where we should be, but we're not. Live on Mars? No. Discover another universe? Probably not. Control the weather? Some people think that. Travel back in time? Well, I can only do that with the videos, because watch.
Where we'd be in the year 2000. So it's kind of sad in that respect. Technology has sort of superseded humanity.
Clone a dinosaur. No, hasn't happened yet. Anyway, there was a lot of, I loved the sort of end of days religious stuff around Y2K. Here's one. Is this the end? Because these type of doomsday religion people love things like this. This is a yogurt cap and is for Stonyfield Farms, and it's a Y2K compatible yogurt, I guess. I don't know. You see, people were making money off that. This is that famous millennial ticket that I showed in my first Y2K video. Still not worth anything. There's various letters. These strange cults, like I was saying, that I've been in touch with, the Christian cults, end of days. I got a bunch of tapes from them and just crazy stuff. Like this is the Overcomer, and there were some other ones here. This is my favorite here. This is the actually the paper is held up pretty good for 20 years. Michael for the Triumph of the Immaculate, and it says here, if you could read that, the world economy shutdown is programmed for the year 1999 through the Millennium Bug. So this was a big concern among many people, including the religious fringe. This is the book that I was talking about. This is the Ed Jordan book, Time Bomb 2000. This is the guy who founded the company I work for in the newsletter company. Absolutely ridiculous. He died a few years ago, and I'm sure he never lived that down. What else here? I got a lot of, here's another Y2K Citizens Action book from this Utney reader. You remember them? I don't even know if they're still around. Who cares? It was an Utney reader thing written by the guy who wrote Utney Reader. His name is Utney, apparently. Eric Utney. And he wrote a guide here that I still have from 20 years ago. And it says, it's very sort of, in that vein of panic. Public citizens can help make response to Y2K a budgetary priority. To maximize the impact of Y2K preparedness efforts, public citizens may wish to contribute to the creation of a one-time emergency fund for the support of organizations and activities addressing the Y2K problem. So a lot of money was raised, a lot of money was put aside, a lot of money was spent on compliance for this thing that eventually, I don't think anything happened again. Hoax, fake, faux, what was Y2K? I'm sure if I looked it up on the Google, they would tell me, or Alexa might tell me, but as far as I know, everything was fine. Nobody came and worked on my 1994 Plymouth Acclaim on the chips or anything to make it compliant, but it still ran. It's all in the history books, but nobody quite explained it. I would love to have someone explain to me why this was supposed to be an issue. It really wasn't. Y2K information meetings, hold those at your local community. Worry about that. Worry about something. Nobody's buying anything unless we worry about something. It could be people on drugs or Y2K or foreigners or anything like that. There always has to be some invasion or some problem that we can focus our fear on and buy things. We need to buy protection. It's all fake.
We have this great technology, but we're still monkeys with shoes. So we we have a tendency not to do the right thing.
So the purpose of this tape, or this video that I'm putting together with the old footage and the new footage, is just to get a better sense of what happened. I might do some research and figure it out, but I've come to one conclusion, and is that I like this hat, actually. It's not so bad. Didn't look so good on me when I was 30, but at 50, I think it fits. What do you think? Probably not. Whatever. I don't care.
So, until the next update, have a good time at the end of the century.